Thank you everyone for attending our Q&A session today. My name is Samantha Pugh. I work in the Career Development Center. I'm the Employer Relations Coordinator, and today we have David with us from BSE Global.
Everybody.
David, if you want to start by just giving a brief introduction and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so my name is David Estevez. I work at BSE Global, which is the flagship ownership company. We own the Brooklyn Nets, the Barclays Center, the Long Island Nets, the Nets GC, which is a 2K team affiliate for the Brooklyn Nets, and also the New York Liberty. So it's in the sports and entertainment business. It's a lot of fun. I'm born and raised in Brooklyn, always been a big basketball fan, hence the tie to the Brooklyn Nets. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I did my undergrad at the University of New Haven. I did my undergrad in sports management, and then I stayed for my master's degree in marketing. So I did a total of 5 years on campus. I was very involved on campus, did a lot of jobs, and it was a lot of fun. Definitely prepared me for world or life outside of college and into the real world. And yeah, I'm here I am today.
Great. So what is your position at BSE?
So my current position is coordinator of partnership marketing. So I work in our sponsorship department. Partnerships is kind of another term for sponsorship in the sports and entertainment world. We like to think of it more so as a partnership than a sponsorship, because sponsorship sounds kind of cold. We like to really work with our sponsors, our partners, and really make it a true partnership where everything is hand in hand. Everybody benefits on both sides. So in my current role, I work with a lot of our corporate sponsors, and I really activate their sponsorship side of everything with the Nets. And sometimes it's not even just tied to the Nets. There are a lot of partners that are solely Barclays Center sponsors or Brooklyn Nets sponsors or New York Liberty sponsors, so on and so forth. So my team, we work with any kind of sponsor that comes into the BSE umbrella, and we really work hand in hand with them, making sure that everything that they want to get out of the partnership, we execute. And then vice versa, we also relay what we're looking for out of the partnership with them and make sure that that's done on their side as well. So we work hand in hand with across all industries. Like, yes, I'm in the sports and entertainment business, but every other day I'm working in the IT business, or I'm working in the consumer business, the direct to retail business, the fashion business. We have sponsors that run the gamut of all types of businesses. So I get a nice little sneak peek of everything that's going on.
Oh, that's super cool. So what led you to where you are right now in your specific role?
So like I said earlier, I'm born and raised in Brooklyn. When I chose UNH because of their sports management program. And coming out of high school, I always knew that I wanted to work for the Brooklyn Nets. So my senior year of high school was the year that the Nets moved from New Jersey into Brooklyn. I actually went to high school 2 blocks away from where the arena currently is. I watched the arena be built. They broke ground, I think it was my sophomore year of high school. So I watched the entire arena be built. My high school actually had our graduation in the arena the year it opened. We were the first school to graduate in the arena.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was an amazing experience. And to be honest, it was during that moment when I was walking through the tunnels to go get my diploma. We all got our chance on the Jumbotron as we got our diplomas. It was in those moments that I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do and how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to work here someday. And I just wanted to be a part of that atmosphere. That ultimately led me to going to UNH, getting my degree in sports management, building my network, and gaining some technical experience. And then as soon as I graduated, I literally moved off of campus in June 20th. I think that same day I had an interview with the Brooklyn Nets for a part-time job. Through that, I was able to show my work ethic. They really appreciated everything that I was bringing to. It was a very small role. My initial role was handing out flyers in the streets of Brooklyn and New York City, just trying to garner interest in Brooklyn Nets, having people interested in coming out to games, gathering information, and then kind of funneling them towards our sales team to hopefully get them the right tickets that they want so that they can enjoy the Brooklyn Nets games. From there, the sales teams really liked the way that I was approaching everything, and they decided to promote me within 2 months. They brought me in full time. So I went from handing out flyers to working in the corporate office every day. My job initially was to reach out to generally affluent people in the community and other companies, and get them interested in coming out to Nets games through hospitality. So having them buy tickets, whether it's season tickets, half season tickets, group events, suites, whatever made the most sense for them. My job was selling the more premium assets that we had. So usually our suites, courtside seats, so on and so forth. So I was working with a lot of high profile clients in that sense, because obviously if you want to buy a suite, it's going to cost you a pretty penny. So these people that have pretty pennies tend to be pretty affluent. So it was a lot of fun in that experience. I did that for a year. Learned a lot. It was amazing. And then during the off season of 2019, so during summer of 2019, I transitioned over into my current role with partnership marketing. Just more so knowing that marketing was always what I wanted to do, hence why I got my master's degree in marketing. I always wanted to get into that role. Selling tickets was cool. It was a great experience for me and definitely learned a lot. But transitioning into marketing was my end goal. So getting into this position was great. To be honest, it's a position that I didn't even know existed going into the role. I had to learn everything about it once I saw it popped up on my LinkedIn. And from there, it's been a lot of fun. I get to do a lot of cool things. I get to, like I said earlier, kind of interact with all different types of industries, people from all around New York, all around the country, really. And it's a lot of fun. I get to meet cool people. I get invited to cool events. At the end of the day, I get paid to go see basketball games and concerts. So it gets to be a lot of fun.
That sounds cool. Well, can you tell us a little bit about BSE? What do they do? How many employees are there? What industries are typically the employees are from?
Yep. So BSE is, like I said earlier, we're the holding company for all these large entities. So we own and operate pretty much every facet of all these entities. So BSE encompasses the Brooklyn Nets. That means we oversee the coaches, we oversee the general manager, we oversee the players. Like that's all coming out of the BSE umbrella. Same thing with the New York Liberty, same thing with the Long Island Nets as well. On the Barclays side, we're the ones that kind of own and operate everything that goes on inside the arena. We're the ones that do all the marketing. We're the ones that bring in all the concerts, all the events that happen outside of basketball. So that's all done through us. The only thing we don't really handle inside the arena is like the general staff, so security and all that. We have another company that handles all that. Food as well, we have another company that does catering. But everything else that is operational, business, marketing-wise, that's done through BSE for any of our entities. So we do all the finances, we do anything. Pretty much anything that comes with running a business, we do it for all of those 5 properties that I mentioned. And then in terms of what kind of industry we're in the sports and entertainment industry. So a lot of people tend to stay in the industry. It's a very small industry. People bounce around from team to team, league to league, property to property. So we have a lot of people that worked at different teams across the country and then decided to land in Brooklyn. On the other end, we have a lot of people who broke into the sports and entertainment industry who might have been somewhere else. So there's a lot of people that worked in finance, a lot of people that worked in accounting, obviously for the business aspect of it. We have a lot of people that work in travel and general marketing practices for other big time companies like Procter & Gamble and JetBlue and stuff like that. They jumped, I don't want to say jump ship. They came and joined our side of the fun stuff where they saw it more valuable to them at that point in their life to kind of be around sports, be around entertainment and really enjoy everything that comes with the job. And it's really interesting. A lot of people have different backgrounds from it. A bulk of it, I want to say like 80% of the people that work at BSE do have a sports background, did want to come in and be in that entertainment industry. So that's kind of what led them to us. But yeah, it's a very interesting melting pot is probably the best way I could put it. We have people from everywhere at the company.
Great. Just a side note, all students, if you can just type in your name in the little group chat box, just so we can take attendance on who's participating today. And if you do have any questions, feel free to just add that into the box and then we'll get to the questions at the end for David. Okay, so how would you describe the corporate culture at BSE?
So this is something I actually had to figure out how to best describe because I've actually been asked this a lot recently. It's definitely very startup-like. We're based in Brooklyn. Our office is right on the river. Actually, we have from my desk, I could actually see the whole skyline of New York City, of Lower Manhattan. So we're based in Brooklyn. It's in Sunset Park, which is a very industry-heavy place of Brooklyn. It's a bunch of old industry buildings, so textile buildings that were all repurposed into offices. And there's actually kind of like a mall center right across the street from my office, where the office is now. So it's very hipster, very upstart vibe. Our building is an old factory building that was again repurposed into this new fancy office. We've fully embraced the Brooklyn vibe of everything. The Brooklyn cool is kind of what we call it. If you walk into our office, there's graffiti on all the walls. We had an artist come in and do kind of everything in that sense. But at the same time, you also get that Silicon Valley tech up startup vibe where everything is very sleek and shiny and brand new. We have a whole wall that's just vines and greenery, and it makes it really pop. And then we have a bunch of seating spaces. We have glass rooms that are used as like breakout bubbles if you wanted to have like a little meeting. Everything is very open, very, very open. Obviously we have our cubicles like every other office does, but every single office that we have, every single meeting space that we have, glass everywhere, completely open. You can see who's in every building. We have this awesome like big room. I don't know what the best way to describe it, but there's this large meeting table there that seats like 60 people. And that's like a big congregation space for everyone. We have a cafeteria space in there. It's very, very startup, very sleek, clean. It's awesome. We've just moved there actually right when I started. So it's been about 2 years since we've been in this space. So the culture is very, very hip. There's a lot of young people in BSC in general. I want to say that I'm probably around the average age. I'm 25. So there's usually people around my age are the bulk of the workforce there. But on the flip end, there's also a lot of people that have been with the team and been in the industry for decades that work there and obviously bring in their kind of experience. But everyone's very relaxed. I heard that before we transitioned to this new office, it used to be suit and tie every single day. But once we transitioned and it became a lot more relaxed. So now if you walk around the BSE office, you see everybody in jeans. If it's the off season, you might see somebody in sweatpants. Like you never know, some people are mavericks out there. But it's definitely very relaxed, very chill. It's amazing since it's very open. Anyone feels comfortable coming up to everyone. Like I feel comfortable coming up to the VP, the head of my department, any moment, anytime, just knocking on his door, and everyone's always welcoming. So
nice,
very collaborative, very open.
It sounds like a good place to work. Sounds like a good one. Yeah. Great. Awesome. Okay. So can you give any pointers or if you have any ideas of what type of candidates is BSE looking for job opportunities?
So BSE is looking for honestly any type. We're very open. I've seen a lot of people come in from every single industry, like I said earlier. I think the best thing and what I've seen as a trend recently in terms of who we've been hiring and who's been coming into the company, it's people who are creative and willing to kind of think outside of the box. We're not a legacy brand in New York City, so meaning we're the youngest sports franchise to come into New York. So we constantly have to compete with the New York Yankees of the world, the New York Giants, the Jets. All these teams have been here for decades, and they have their established fan bases. Whereas we're the upstart. We've only been in Brooklyn for 8 years. It's been an uphill battle to kind of compete with all the other teams that are here and also kind of establish ourselves. So everyone that we've been bringing in recently is a lot of people who are very creative and really forward thinking and are willing to think outside of the box to help us gain the upper edge. Like we can't come in, we know we can't compete with the fan bases of these other teams. So it's all about how can we be different? How can we garner interest? How can we get new people to be fans of the Brooklyn Nets and come in and really enjoy the experience? And on that, we're also like a very tech startup vibe. So we like having people that come in that are very creative, very understanding, very collaborative, and willing to kind of work across the lane with everyone else in the company and really extend themselves into their work. Because we really love when people are very passionate about everything. Like that was one of the big things that helped me in my career is my ability to just say, I want to do this. I want to be here and I'm here for the long haul. And not saying that we're only looking people for the long haul. We understand people come and go, but that it's always good when we see the passion in people that work in the company because it makes our jobs a lot better. It makes their jobs a lot better. It makes everyone's life a lot better if everyone's happy about what they're doing every day.
Great. So we did get a question in from Kristen Marcus. She says, although you work in corporate partnerships and marketing, what roles and opportunities are available to those who are more in tune with communications and sports journalism?
So in terms of those two fields, we do have a communications department that I work with very closely. I'm not entirely sure in terms of what openings we have right now, more so because of everything that's going on with COVID-19. We've kind of put a freeze on a lot of things. But I fully anticipate that once everything picks up, we will have a bunch of fresh new openings, more so because we are looking to expand as a company. Like I said earlier, we're trying to compete with those legacy brands. So, and we just recently got new ownership in Josiah and his family group. And they're big on kind of expanding us and helping us grow. So we do have a communications department. We do have a department that puts together a lot of our press releases and stuff like that. So if that's something more aligned with what you're looking for, I'm sure down the line we'll have openings there because that department is definitely looking to grow.
Is there anything that BSE likes to see on the application or on a student's resume, a candidate's resume, and any advice for the application or search process? I know things are a little bit in limbo with COVID-19, but just for the future.
Yeah, so I think one of the best things in terms of anyone trying to break into the sports industry and sports and entertainment industry is networking. It's a very small industry. Everybody knows everybody. Like I said earlier, people tend to bounce around a lot. So I think one of the best things that I've seen have helped a lot of applicants coming in is knowing somebody. If you have somebody if you could get a great reference from somebody who's either in the industry or somebody that's well respected within their own industry, that will only help you because that just shows that if you have somebody willing to vouch for you, that means you have a good work ethic, you have a good personality, and that's really all we're looking for. We want somebody that we can bring in and we know is not going to be a nuisance or disturb any type of our workflow. So just if you're able to have great references and explain that in your resume and show that in any type of reference letters that you get, that will only benefit you. That being said, any type of experience in the sports industry or the entertainment business. So for any of you guys who are looking for internships right now, I definitely recommend getting an internship in those fields if that's something you want to do, because that's big. If you have an understanding of how the industry kind of works, even though internships give you a sneak peek, once you get that sneak peek, it makes it a lot easier for us to kind of bring you in because we don't have to train you from the ground up. If you have a good understanding of how any facet of the sports world works and you're looking for a role in that facet, it's a lot easier for us to bring you in. I know in my personal experience, I interned with NBC Sports while I was at UNH. I also worked for the New York Red Bulls for a little bit after UNH. So that definitely, once those things were popped up on my resume, it made it a lot easier for them to bring me in to work for BSE. I know for a fact that they reached out to people that worked at those teams and those corporations and asked about me. So that can only help you if you have that experience and you already know people in the industry that can vouch for you.
Awesome. How has your experience been working in the industry so far? Any high points that you can share with us?
Yeah, so I loved it. I'm a big basketball fan. And to be honest, the best thing about working in sports is the perks. Like you get amazing perks. Like we work hard, play hard. That's 100% what the sports industry and the entertainment industry at large is about. We work so hard to make these events happen, and it's nonstop. It's 7 days a week, sometimes 24/7. But we always get to kind of enjoy the fruits of our labor. So I will work all week to make sure that everything goes off perfect for a basketball game. But then come that basketball game, I get to sit down for free and watch an entire professional basketball game. And BSE is great about its corporate culture and making sure that employees are happy. So we regularly get tickets that we could extend to our friends and family. So I know in the last 2 years that I've been working for the team, I've had the opportunity to sit courtside and watch basketball games. I've had the opportunity to bring my family down to courtside to watch basketball games, meet and greets with players, hanging out with some of the players. I've gone to more concerts than I've ever been to the rest of my life or ever thought I would be in the rest of my life. And it's great. It's an amazing experience. Like by no means do I want you guys to think that it's all fun and games. Like we work hard to get those stuff up and running, knowing that at the end we can enjoy it. So that's probably like the highest point. Like I want to say there was last season, the Nets were making a playoff push. It was very exciting. I was lucky enough to get 4 tickets that I won at a company dinner party that we were doing. They were raffling away tickets. I won 4 courtside seats where my parents were literally sitting on the floor underneath the basket right next to the team bench. And that's kind of an experience that's going to be with me for the rest of my life. Like I never, being a young Dominican kid from Brooklyn, I never thought that I would be able to put my family in that position where they can actually enjoy a game in seats that cost tens of thousands of dollars, and they were just there for free because I worked there. And it's stuff like that that definitely makes it worth it every single day. Like I said earlier, like we get paid to go see basketball games and concerts. Like the job is a lot of fun.
That's great. I'm a concert goer, so if you have extra tickets,
Oh, yeah.
you can pass them this
I,
way. Just like, all right. So obviously, it's hard to know what the world is going to look like in the near future. Do you have any advice to our class of 2020 who is entering into an uncertain labor market?
yeah, I think probably the biggest advice and something that we've definitely spoken about a lot in the industry, like during all the Zoom phone calls that I've been having over the last couple of weeks, is just persistence. I think everyone, especially on the hiring side, understands that this is a very tough situation. Like this has hit BSC very hard, mostly because our business is large events, sporting events, and concerts, and none of that is happening right now. So we understand it on our end, and pretty much anyone across the sports and entertainment business gets it because we've all been impacted in this sense, where the bulk of our business is unable to happen right now. It's imperative that a lot of people just stay strong. I think now is honestly the best time. Like my biggest advice to any of you guys looking to get into this job market, now is the best time to network. A lot of us are not doing things like we have our meeting calls, we have our phone calls, but there's not a lot of stuff to keep us busy outside of our meetings. So now is the best time to go out there and really just reach out, cold email, I'm on LinkedIn every single day. Hop on LinkedIn, at everyone that works at a place that you think you want to work at, and just have a conversation with them. Set up 10, 15 minutes with them, build some FaceTime. If you could do a Zoom call, great. If not, just do a regular phone call and probe. Ask questions about working at the company. Ask questions about what it's like what it's like for them right now during everything that's going on, because building that FaceTime, building that recognition is only going to help you once we do start opening things up, because we're all in the same boat. We're not going to turn anyone away, especially if it's somebody that we know. And now's the best time to kind of build that face-to-face time.
That's great advice. We do have a question from Kristen. Do you have any tips for landing an internship, especially with a larger company like MSNBC Sports?
Yeah, so probably, though I know my time with NBC Sports was definitely, that internship was hard to get. It was a very rigorous process. A lot of these larger corporations have like 3 rounds that you have to go through, like submit a video. I know for NBC, I had to do a video interview, which is the most awkward thing ever, because it wasn't like someone talking to me. It was written questions, and I had to record myself answering those written questions. It was like stuff like that is very difficult. My biggest again, this ties back to my earlier point. Probably my biggest tip is to network and build people in that company. At the end of the day, the only reason I got my NBC internship is because I had someone at the CDC, oddly enough, since I was working at the CDC at the time. I had someone there who vouched for me and reached out to NBC on my behalf multiple times, to the point that when I finally got brought in for the internship, the lady that I was working with said, "Oh, you're David. Yeah, we've gotten 20 emails from this guy talking about you and telling us how we should hire you." So just going back to that, like if you get people on your side, especially in the sports and entertainment biz, it's very relationship heavy. It's very small, very tight knit community. So if you have people that can vouch for you and really speak to who you are as a person, as a worker, that's only going to help you, because at the end of the day, we just want somebody that we feel comfortable working with. And if we have people that we trust saying us that you're one of those people, it makes it that much easier.
Yeah, that's great advice. So all of you guys heard him. Reach out to us at the CDC, and we will be happy to help you with your internship search.
CDC was amazing in my time there. Like I was a peer career advisor, so I was helping people with resumes, but at the same time, I did it for selfish reasons because I wanted to learn how to make resumes. Mm-hmm. I also wanted to learn the connections in the CDC. And that ultimately is what got me my internship, my job with the Red Bulls, and ultimately what prepared me for my job with the Nets. So it's definitely a great resource, and I encourage everyone to use it.
Yeah, thanks. And we do have an Instagram page, everyone. So follow us on Instagram. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. Happy to talk to anyone about any of your job or internship, searching. So yeah, for sure. Utilize us at the Career Development Center. It's definitely a great tool to use. With that being said, we have one more question from Brody. He said, "Hey, David, it's Brody Vaughn. there's one question I forgot to ask when we talked on the phone a couple of weeks ago. What goes into the Nets partnering with a business like the Nets Gravity Blanket Partnership? Is it interpersonal relationships or is it more business sided?
So yes, so a little bit of background on that. So I was fortunate enough to talk to Brody's class a couple of weeks ago, but one of our corporate sponsors is Gravity Blankets. For those of you who don't know, they provide weighted blankets, which help with anxiety and kind of sleep deprivation and help people kind of get relaxing sleep. They're one of our partners. They're one of the accounts that I actually handle closely. With them, it was much more of an interpersonal, and it was a mix of both. So like I said earlier, people tend to bounce around a lot when they come from business to business. My previous boss, when I was selling tickets, actually went to college with the CEO of Gravity Blankets. So they were friends. They worked together previously in a previous life. And then for some reason, many decades later, they decided to reconnect. And a conversation was brought up about working with the Nets. My old boss connected, that's the CEO of Gravity, with my team, and ultimately we built a relationship from there. It was pretty seamless because at the end of the day, if we had my old boss, his name is Ross. We had Ross vouching for the Nets. Obviously, he's worked here. He's actually been with the team for 11 years. So he was vouching for it on a personal level with his friend, and his friend felt a lot more comfortable being like, hey, I want to work with you guys and give you guys money and go from there and really develop this sponsorship. So it was pretty seamless in that sense. That actually happens a lot. Like, a lot of people tend to know somebody that works somewhere, and you pull the strings and then you never know what ends up happening. Like, we have a lot of partners that come in just because they were friends with somebody that works at the Nets, and vice versa. Like, we meet a lot of people at all these games. We meet a lot of people at all these concerts. Sometimes we just randomly run into somebody while we're walking around the concourse and we spark up a conversation. That person turns out to be the head VP of something at some company, and he's like, hey, I want to work with you guys. A lot of it is relationship based. A lot of it is interpersonal. But on the flip end, we do have more business sided relationships where we do the outreach. We see that Gravity Blankets did something great in the news, and we immediately send them an email if we know anybody there. So it goes both ways. I want to say it's definitely more leaning towards the relationship base. Like, it's big in the industry. So that's how we bring in a lot of our partners.
Awesome. All right. We do have a question, and I'm not sure if you'll be able to answer this. Do you know if your organization hires OPT students?
What is an OPT student?
Basically, students who would need authorization to work in the United States.
I believe so. I don't see why we wouldn't. I think on more internship basis and contractor basis. I don't want to speak on behalf of like our HR teams. I don't want
Yeah.
what they do. But I know that we have brought in, like, we have a big global presence. Our new owner is from China, and he's actually one of the co-founders of Alibaba, which is basically the Amazon of China. Hence why he had enough money to buy the Brooklyn Nets. But
I love Alibaba.
Alibaba's great. But since they've come in, we've had a very international approach to the way we approach the business. Mm-hmm. So we've been bringing in a lot of people that come in and work as contractors and are specifically there to target a certain group. Like, we had a whole group that was just there to do social media for China. Like, they didn't do anything else. They were just there to cover everything and spit it out so that it was consumable for the Chinese market. Mm-hmm. So knowing that that's kind of the approach that we take to a lot of our business, I wouldn't see why we wouldn't be open to hiring people from around the world who can bring their expertise to us.
Great. Now, are there any more questions? Just wanted to make sure before we let David go. No? All right, awesome. So thank you so much, David. I appreciate you taking the time to talk to us today. Everything that you said was so helpful. Oh, wait, we do have one more. Oh, they want to know, how can they get in touch with you after this? Do you have a LinkedIn you can share?
I do have a LinkedIn. So my LinkedIn is my name, David Estevez. As soon as BSE pops up, that's me. But I love LinkedIn. I'm on it every single day. You could ask you could ask Brody as well. He reached out to me on LinkedIn. But if you guys want to reach out, set up some time to talk, just shoot me a note on LinkedIn. I'm more than happy to coordinate some time to sit down.
Great. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you. And I hope you have a great weekend. It's Friday.
Thanks, you too. And I hope everybody watching has a great weekend as well. And thank you again for having me.
All right. Talk to you later.